If you've had blood work done recently, and your doctor mentioned the word creatinine, or GFR, and you walked out of that office Googling what those words even mean, you are definitely not alone. And stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what's going on with your kidneys and which vegetables actually make sense for you, and which ones might be doing more harm than good, even though they're marketed as healthy. Here's the scary part nobody really explains clearly. Your kidneys are about the size of your fist, and every single day they filter around 150 quarts of blood. That's like filtering an entire bathtub's worth of blood. Every day, quietly, without you ever noticing. Until one day, a lab number creeps up and suddenly you're being told to watch your diet. And here's the thing that really gets people. You can lose up to 90% of your kidney function before you feel a single symptom. No pain, no warning sign, just numbers on a piece of paper that your doctor is now watching closely. So if you've been told your creatinine is high, or your GFR is dropping, or you're dealing with that annoying nighttime bathroom routine, getting up 2, 3, 4 times a night, what doctors call nocturia, or you've noticed your urine looking a little foamy in the bowl, your body has actually been trying to send you signals for a while now. And food, especially vegetables, plays a much bigger role in this story than most people realize. But, and this is important, so don't skip ahead, not every healthy vegetable is actually kidney-friendly. Some of the most popular superfoods people are told to eat are loaded with potassium and phosphorus, two minerals that healthy kidneys handle just fine, but struggling kidneys can't clear out properly. And when those minerals build up in your blood, it can actually become dangerous, even affecting your heart rhythm. So today we're not doing another generic eat more veggies video. We're going deep into 5 specific vegetables that renal dietitians and kidney specialists actually put on their approved lists. The low potassium, low phosphorus, kidney supportive options. And I'm also going to tell you the common prep mistakes that quietly sabotage even the good vegetables. Because how you cook something matters just as much as what you're cooking. Stick with me, because vegetable number 3 is the one almost nobody talks about. And it might already be sitting in your fridge right now, doing nothing for you because you're prepping it the wrong way. Why potassium and phosphorus matter. Before we get into the list, let's take 2 minutes to understand why this even matters. Because once this clicks, the rest of the video is going to make a lot more sense. Potassium is a mineral your body actually needs. It helps your heart beat properly and your muscles function. When your kidneys are working well, any extra potassium just gets filtered out and flushed away in your urine, no problem. But when kidney function drops, which is measured by that GFR number your doctor talks about, the kidneys can't clear potassium as efficiently, and it starts building up in the bloodstream. And here's the part that surprises people. Too much potassium in the blood, a condition called hyperkalemia, doesn't necessarily make you feel sick right away. Sometimes the very first sign is an irregular heartbeat. That's according to the National Kidney Foundation, and it's exactly why your nephrologist keeps ordering blood tests. They're watching that number closely, even when you feel completely fine. Phosphorus works in a similar sneaky way. It's naturally found in a lot of foods, and healthy kidneys filter the extra out. But when kidney function declines, phosphorus can build up and actually start pulling calcium out of your bones, which, over time, contributes to bone and heart problems. Mayo Clinic and the NKF both point to phosphorus control as one of the more overlooked parts of a kidney-friendly diet, because, unlike sodium, most people have genuinely never been taught to watch it. Now here's the part that makes this whole topic tricky, and I want to be really honest with you about this instead of oversimplifying it like a lot of videos do. How much potassium and phosphorus is safe for you personally depends entirely on your specific stage of kidney function and your latest lab results. Someone in early-stage kidney concerns might not need to restrict potassium much at all, while someone further along may need to watch it closely. This is not a one-size-fits-all number, which is exactly why your renal dietitian or nephrologist is the person who can tell you your actual personal targets. What I can do is show you which vegetables tend to run naturally low in these two minerals, so you've got a strong, general starting point to bring into that conversation. All right, let's get into the list. Vegetable number 1, red bell peppers. Number 1 on the list, and this one genuinely surprises people, red bell peppers. Most folks think all peppers and all colorful vegetables must be loaded with potassium, because that's just what a lot of viral health content claims. But red bell peppers are actually one of the lower potassium vegetables you can eat, especially compared to things like potatoes, tomatoes, or avocado, which are often the ones people are told to cut back on. On top of that, red bell peppers are loaded with vitamin C, actually more vitamin C, ounce for ounce, than an orange, plus vitamin A, vitamin B6, folic acid, and fiber. That combination matters because chronic kidney concerns are often tied to inflammation and oxidative stress in the body. And vitamin C is one of the nutrients your body uses to fight that. Here's something almost nobody mentions in these videos, though. The color of the pepper actually changes its nutrition. A green bell pepper is just an unripe red bell pepper. As it ripens and turns red, its vitamin C and antioxidant content goes up significantly. So if you've been buying green peppers because they're $1 cheaper, letting them ripen to red, or just spending the extra bit, actually gets you meaningfully more nutritional benefit. That's a small detail, but it's the kind of thing that makes a real difference over months and years of eating this way. Now let's talk prep, because this is where a lot of people quietly undo the benefit. Roasting bell peppers at high heat for a long time or grilling them until they're charred can reduce their vitamin C content, since vitamin C is heat sensitive and breaks down with prolonged cooking. The better move is a quick sauté in a small amount of olive oil, or even eating them raw in strips as a snack or salad topper that preserves more of the nutrients. If you do want them roasted for flavor, a shorter roast at a moderate temperature is a reasonable middle ground. The common mistake people make here isn't with the pepper itself, it's what they pair it with. A lot of folks will do a beautiful plate of red bell peppers and then load it up with a salty seasoning packet or a store-bought dip that's packed with sodium. And here's a connection people miss. High sodium intake makes your kidneys work harder and can raise blood pressure, which is one of the leading causes of kidney strain in the first place. So the vegetable can be doing everything right, and the seasoning next to it can be working against you. A simple squeeze of lemon, a bit of black pepper, maybe some fresh herbs, that keeps this snack working in your favor instead of against you. Vegetable number 2, cauliflower. Number 2, cauliflower. And I want to pause here because this vegetable has quietly become one of the most useful tools for people managing kidney concerns, and I don't think it gets nearly enough credit. Cauliflower is naturally low in both potassium and phosphorus compared to a lot of other vegetables, which already makes it a solid choice. But the bigger reason it's on this list is what it can replace. If you've ever been told to watch your potassium, one of the hardest adjustments is giving up mashed potatoes, or rice, or other starchy sides that tend to run higher in potassium and phosphorus, especially in the larger portions people are used to eating. Cauliflower, when steamed and mashed, creates a strikingly similar texture to mashed potatoes, and that swap alone has helped a lot of people stick to their eating plan without feeling like they're being punished or missing out on comfort food. Here's a piece of information that doesn't get talked about enough. How you cook cauliflower can actually change its potassium content in a meaningful way. Potassium is water-soluble, meaning it leaches out into water during cooking. A process some renal dietitians recommend, sometimes called leaching or double cooking, involves boiling cut vegetables in a large pot of water, draining that water completely, and then either boiling again in fresh water or finishing the cooking process a second way. This can reduce the potassium content further, which may matter more if your labs have shown elevated potassium. It's a simple technique, but almost nobody outside of renal nutrition circles has heard of it, and it's genuinely useful information to bring up with your dietitian to see if it applies to your specific situation. Cauliflower is also part of the cruciferous vegetable family, along with broccoli and cabbage, which we'll get to in a minute. Cruciferous vegetables contain compounds that have been studied for their role in supporting the body's natural detoxification processes in the liver. And while I want to be careful not to overstate this, since research in this specific area connecting cruciferous vegetables directly to kidney outcomes is still developing, it's a reasonable, evidence-supported reason to include more of this vegetable family in a balanced diet, alongside, not instead of, whatever your care team has recommended. The mistake people make with cauliflower is buying the frozen cauliflower rice or pre-riced versions and not checking the label, because some of these products have added sauces, cheese powders, or sodium-heavy seasoning blends mixed in before packaging. Plain, unseasoned cauliflower, fresh or frozen, is the version that actually gives you the benefit we just talked about. All right, quick pause before we get into vegetable number 3, which honestly might be the most underrated one on this entire list. If this video is actually giving you useful information so far, do me a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this video get shown to other people dealing with the exact same kidney health questions you might have. And we're trying to get this channel to 50,000 subscribers so we can keep making videos like this one. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe too. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. And no pressure to share anything you're not comfortable with. But if you know your recent creatinine or GFR numbers, drop them in the comments. It helps other people in the comments see they're not alone in this. And tell me where you're watching from, whether that's somewhere here in the US or anywhere else in the world. I like seeing just how many different places this community is actually coming from. And if you know someone dealing with kidney concerns, high blood pressure, or diabetes, go ahead and share this video with them directly. Sometimes YouTube just needs a little push from real people sharing it to actually get it in front of the folks who need to see it. Okay, let's get back into it. Vegetable number 3, cabbage. Vegetable number 3, and I did say this one might be the most underrated, cabbage. Cabbage is one of the lowest potassium vegetables you can regularly find in a grocery store, and it's also low in phosphorus and sodium naturally. What makes it stand out even more is how versatile it is. You can eat it raw in a slaw, sauté it, steam it, use it as a low-carb wrap in place of a tortilla, or add it into soups. For people managing both kidney concerns and diabetes at the same time, which is an extremely common combination, cabbage is also low on the glycemic index, meaning it has a much gentler effect on blood sugar compared to a lot of starchy vegetables. Here's something that genuinely surprises people. Cabbage contains a compound group called glucosinolates, the same family found in broccoli and cauliflower, which break down during digestion into compounds that have been studied for supporting the body's antioxidant defenses. Again, I want to stay grounded here and not turn this into a bigger claim than the research actually supports. This isn't a detox food in the dramatic sense some wellness content likes to sell it as. But as part of a broader, kidney-conscious eating pattern that your care team has helped you build, it's a genuinely reasonable, low-risk addition. Now, the mistake, and this one is huge, so pay attention here. A lot of people, especially folks who grew up with cabbage in soups, stews, or classic dishes like corned beef and cabbage, are used to cooking it with a heavy hand of salt, or pairing it with cured, salted meats. That combination completely changes the sodium profile of the dish, and remember what we talked about earlier, sodium and blood pressure are directly tied to kidney workload. The cabbage itself isn't the problem, it's almost always what it's cooked with. A simple swap, using fresh herbs, garlic, a splash of vinegar, or low-sodium broth instead of salted broth or cured meat, lets you keep the dish you actually enjoy without working against your kidneys. There's also a fermented version of cabbage, sauerkraut, that a lot of people assume is automatically healthy because it's fermented and good for gut health. But traditional sauerkraut is typically very high in sodium because salt is part of the fermentation process itself. So if kidney health and blood pressure are a concern for you, regular fresh cabbage is the better everyday choice over the fermented, salted version, even though both come from the same vegetable. Vegetable number 4, onions. Number 4, onions. And I want to frame this one a little differently because onions aren't usually the star of a meal. but they might be doing more work for your kidney health than you realize, mostly because of what they let you avoid. Onions are low in potassium and phosphorus, and they carry a huge amount of flavor for almost no sodium at all. That second part matters more than people give it credit for. One of the hardest parts of eating a lower sodium, kidney-conscious diet is that food can start to taste bland, and that's usually the exact moment people either give up on the eating plan or start reaching for salt anyway just to make dinner enjoyable again. Onions, along with garlic, which we'll get to next, are two of the most effective tools for building real flavor into a dish without needing the salt shaker. Onions also contain a flavonoid called quercetin, which has been studied for its antioxidant properties and its potential role in supporting healthy blood pressure. This is genuinely interesting research, and it lines up with something we already know matters a lot for kidney health, since high blood pressure is one of the two leading causes of kidney function decline in the United States, right alongside diabetes, according to the National Kidney Foundation. I want to be careful here, though. Eating onions is not a replacement for blood pressure medication or your doctor's treatment plan, and I'm not suggesting that. But as part of a flavorful, lower-sodium way of eating, onions genuinely earn their spot on this list. Here's a prep detail that's actually backed by real reasoning, not just a kitchen myth. How you cut and cook an onion changes its flavor intensity, which then changes how much salt you'll feel like you need to add. Caramelizing onions low and slow brings out a natural sweetness that can make an entire dish taste richer without any added salt at all. If you're someone who's been struggling to enjoy lower sodium cooking, spending 20 extra minutes caramelizing onions for a dish is one of the most underrated tricks in the entire renal-friendly cooking world. The mistake here is subtle. A lot of people buy onion powder or garlic onion seasoning blends thinking they're getting the same benefit in a more convenient form. But many of these blends have salt mixed directly into them, sometimes as one of the first few ingredients on the label. Always flip the container and check, because onion seasoning and onion powder are not always the same thing, and that difference can matter quite a bit over the course of a week of cooking. Vegetable number 5, garlic. And finally, number 5, garlic. This one pairs naturally with everything we just talked about with onions, but garlic deserves its own spot because of a few things that are specific to it. Garlic is low in potassium and phosphorus, and it's one of the most concentrated flavor per bite ingredients that exists, which again circles back to that sodium reduction theme we've been building throughout this whole video. A little fresh garlic can transform a bland, low-sodium dish into something that actually feels satisfying, and that matters for whether people stick with a kidney-conscious way of eating long-term or quietly abandon it in a few weeks because the food stopped tasting good. Garlic contains a compound called allicin, which is released when garlic is crushed or chopped, and allicin has been studied for potential cardiovascular benefits, including modest effects on blood pressure in some research. Since blood pressure and kidney health are so closely linked, this is a genuinely relevant connection. But again, I want to be honest and clear that garlic is a supportive addition to an overall plan, not a treatment on its own, and it should never replace any medication your doctor has prescribed for blood pressure. Here's a detail that most cooking videos completely skip. Allicin isn't very stable, and it actually needs a little time to develop after garlic is chopped or crushed before you cook it. Some research on garlic preparation suggests letting chopped or minced garlic sit for about 10 minutes before cooking allows more of that beneficial compound to form, compared to chopping it and throwing it straight into a hot pan immediately. It's a small, almost invisible habit, but it's a good example of one of those 10% differences that genuinely add up when you're trying to get the most out of the food you're already eating. The common mistake with garlic is similar to onions: pre-minced garlic in a jar, and garlic salt in particular, which, as the name suggests, has a significant amount of added sodium. Fresh garlic cloves, even though they take slightly more effort, give you the actual benefit without the sodium trade-off that comes with a lot of the convenience versions on the shelf. Final takeaway. So let's bring this all together. Red bell peppers for vitamin C and low potassium. Cauliflower as a genuinely satisfying, lower potassium swap for starchy comfort foods. Cabbage as one of the lowest potassium vegetables out there, as long as you watch what you're cooking it with. Onions and garlic together, doing the quiet, unglamorous work of making a lower sodium diet actually taste like something you want to keep eating. But here's the honest truth I want to leave you with, because I'd rather you trust this channel long-term than chase a quick view today. No vegetable, no food, and no single video is going to reverse kidney damage or replace the guidance of your nephrologist or renal dietitian. What food can do, and what the research genuinely supports, is support the overall picture, working alongside your medications, your blood pressure management, your diabetes management if that applies to you, and your regular lab monitoring. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Bring this list to your next appointment and ask your care team specifically whether these 5 vegetables and the portion sizes that make sense for your current labs fit into your personal eating plan. That conversation, personalized to your actual numbers, is worth more than any general video on the internet, including this one. If you're dealing with high creatinine, a dropping GFR, that frustrating nighttime bathroom routine, or you've noticed foamy urine and you're waiting on answers, I know how heavy that waiting can feel, and I know how easy it is to feel like your body is working against you right now. But you showed up today and spent the last half hour actually learning how your body works and what you can do to support it. And that's not nothing. That's exactly the kind of small, steady effort that adds up over months and years. If this video helped you understand your kidney health a little better today, that's exactly why I make these. And if you want more videos like this one, breaking down real, honest, science-backed information for people managing kidney health, high blood pressure, and diabetes, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment and let me know which of these 5 vegetables you're already eating and which one you're going to try this week. And if you know someone who needs to hear this today, go ahead and share it with them. You might be the reason they catch something early. Take care of yourself, take care of those kidneys, and I'll see you in the next one.